What's up, millionaires in the making? Welcome back to episode 119 of the MITM Podcast, where we unlock success daily by journeying through the 6 pillars. I'm your host, Ty Aarons, the founder of the MITM Club, and today we're focusing on a topic close to the heart: identifying and establishing meaningful family traditions. With that being said, run my intro.
Caught up in them bright lights, lost every shiny things that's golden. Everything ain't always what it seems, that it's soaking. Chasing my dreams, coming apart at my seams. Best believe that the money is the motive.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the MITM Podcast. Family traditions are the threads that weave our stories together. They strengthen bonds and create a legacy. Now let's talk about how to identify, create, and cherish these traditions that enrich our family lives. First, let's look at the power of family traditions. Really think about the importance and impact of family traditions. It's not just rituals. They're foundations of family legacies. These are the things that your family do, some credos that they have to say. Really think back to how many generations do the same thing. Hey, every time we get together at grandma's house for Christmas, we do A, B, C, D. Once a year, hey, all the time, we get together and we have like barbecues because this is what awakens that which is alive in us, right? When you really think about family traditions, it's a unifying aspect that helps connect you to those that came before you. It's a grounding force. And actually, if we jump into section 2 of identifying your family traditions and the existing traditions that are there, you'll be able to really see the impact it'll have on your life. So think about your current family practices. Sometimes the best traditions are those that have been right under our noses all along. There might be a certain saying that your family has. Like for me, Aaronses have rich oral language. I'm an Aarons Montague. So one side of my family, we say that we have rich oral language, which is why when we're speaking to each other and we're communicating with each other, it's extremely important that we articulate well, that we find the right words, because our Aaronses have rich oral language. And with Montagues, we finish what we start. So these are traditions that I'm aware of on either side of my family that were under my nose, right? In fact, I know on the Montague side, we bring people together. How many different family events do I see? How many, whether it's hosting events or hosting barbecues or whatever, it seems like my family loves to host and do those things. And this is traditions that are baked in that were under my nose this whole time that I wasn't aware of. So I want you to take some time to identify your current family practices and the traditions that might not seem like traditions. It's, oh, we just do that. But it's like, why? That's a tradition, you know? Now, number 3 is going to be creating new traditions. Explore ways to create new traditions. They should be meaningful, inclusive, and reflective of your family's values and stories. One of the traditions that I've been working to implement, or that I'm actually really excited to implement, is the tradition of the tree. Now, trees are extremely old. They've been around since the beginning of life on Earth, essentially, right? And I have this idea that anytime that you hit a milestone in life, that you should plant a tree, and you should have a tree planting ceremony. So imagine this. You got your first job. We're going to plant a tree. You made your first $1 million. We go and plant a tree. You're getting married. We go and plant a tree. You're having a child. We plant a tree for that child. Someone passes away. We plant a tree for that person. And with all these different milestones, like my big long-term vision is to have a forest, the family forest, that tells a story where there's different roads and paths. That as you go through this forest, there's plaques that say, hey, this was a milestone, that was a milestone, this was a milestone. And imagine if this was a tradition that were to happen for generations. What would that end up becoming? What would that end up being? What power would that tradition have, right? And it's an idea, and I'd love to create that tradition and see how can we actually have people reflect on the values. And another tradition that I'm actually looking to create with my family as I build up my family is making sure we have at least 2 family get-togethers per year. At the very minimum, 2 family retreats. And we're going to talk about things we learned in the last year. There's a concept called cash, all right? It's KASH. It's not about money. It's knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. KASH. And I want my family to get together and talk about the cash that they've generated over the last year. What new knowledge did you get, and how can you share with everyone? What new attitudes have you developed or have you gotten rid of? Because sometimes we have to get rid of more things than we create, right? What are new skills that you've had in the last year? What are the hobbies that you've put together over the last year? These are some of the traditions that I'm excited to build with my family as I grow my family. Hopefully, I can reach back far enough and get the older generation to join in on this. But I really have control over what happens with my current generation and sculpting the future generation. We're going to hop over to number 4, and this is adapting traditions over time. Discuss how to adapt traditions as a family to grow and to change. Flexibility keeps them relevant and cherished. You see, this is actually a huge part of the family meetings, the family retreats, where we're actually going to talk about, hey, is this tradition serving us? Do we want to keep doing this? Et cetera, you know? All right. Number 5 is sharing and documenting traditions. With your family, you want to talk about sharing and documenting these traditions specifically. It's not just for us. They're not just for us. They're a legacy for future generations. Like, I know so many people have photo albums. And in this day and age, it's not as popular or as common for this generation to have physical photo albums. We all have our phones where we take millions of pictures. We take millions of pictures and they go off somewhere where we never see them again. And maybe we scroll through, but we got to go through like 100 of the same picture, but it has slightly different poses or looks, you know? And for me, with my current partner, love of my life, hopefully my wife in the future, I decided we're going to have a photo album. I decided we're going to have a physical photo album just like our parents had. Because I had a photo album growing up and she had a photo album growing up. But I wanted to have a photo album of us, just the 2 of us, before anyone else comes into the picture. So we can start to document things happening in our lives. In fact, I just picked up, I hosted, I was a sponsor for some electric races here in Toronto. Shout out to Ride One. And electric vehicle games that was happening here, the mini EV games. And I have some memories from that I want to add to our photo album. When I run comedy shows in these different events, I always keep posters and I get everyone to sign them. Yeah, everyone to sign the posters or the Frisbee or the water gun or whatever it is that is tied to that event. And I keep it. I keep that folder that I have a big, huge book full of posters to say, hey, these are things that happened. Because I'm documenting what some traditions are for me. I run events. And I run events with my dad, and I have pictures of these things, and I'm keeping track of everything, right? They're not just for us. It's for the future generation to see. Because imagine if you had an entire library documenting the history of your people so that 5 generations from now, one of your heirs can look back and say, hey, what did my great-great-great-granddaddy Ty, what was he up to when he was 26? And he can watch this video. Or he can scroll through one of the books. Or he can go to the Montague Library and actually get deeper understanding, you know? I'll keep talking forever. I really do enjoy this topic. This is actually the whole reason why I even got into the field that I'm in, because legacy is everything. And so our last thing for the day is that traditions and well-being. You want to connect the role of family traditions in promoting mental, emotional, and physical well-being. They're more than routines. They're a source of comfort and identity. When you want to look at traditions of well-being, and we're actually going to go deeper into this. I did a course recently that goes super deep into this, where we built out a family constitution. We built out all these different things. It's absolutely amazing. If you want more information on that, definitely just send me a DM down below, respond to this, say, hey, I'm interested in the course, right? But the more that you can have a holistic approach to traditions, whether it's working out, whether it's eating certain foods, not eating certain foods, right? Whether it's a sleep routine that works, right? Whether it's understanding self, whether it's going to different retreats, whether it's meditation retreats, whatever it may be, the things that help with well-being. These are going to change the next generation. It's going to be so useful for them to have these tools ingrained in them, right? And that pretty much wraps up today's episode of the MITM podcast. I kind of went a little bit more off the cuff than I have been recently. Like I've been making very, very, very extensive scripts. But I think that just having this type of, at this point, one-on-one conversation might be, I don't know, you guys let me know if you like this or if you like when it's like heavily scripted. We'll keep experimenting together. But as we close, I do want to remind you to join the MITM Club's Money Mastery Dash, all right? This is for personal growth, for financial mastery, and it's something to help you master your finances in 5 days or less. So many of us can't work out legacy because we're so focused on here and now. But if we're able to think just a little bit further into the future, then we could, if we're able to master our money, it gives us more headspace to think further into the future. And then everything else kind of gets a lot easier from there. So that's all for episode 119 of the MITM podcast. Family traditions are treasures of our past and gifts to our future. Cherish them, create them, and continue them. Until next time, keep building your family legacy. Join the MITM Club and join the Money Mastery Dash. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share your comments on like what some family traditions are for you. What are some things that your family does that you love and some things that you hate, you know? And with that being said, I will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Give 'em that creme de la creme.